Do you remember those old infomercials? The one where it's just set it and forget it. I don't know. I used to watch a ton of infomercials. But anyway, that one always reminds me about Instagram profiles or really any social media profile, specifically the bio portion. We get on these platforms, we create our bio, we put everything in place, and then we focus on churning out fresh content all the time, right? But what I want you to remember is it's not something that you can just set or forget. And if you are, you're losing out on opportunities. Your profile and your bio are the first introductions to your audience. So in today's episode, I'm going to share a few tips of how to give that profile and your bio a fresh makeover so that it's up to date, it's relevant, and to remind you to keep coming back to it often. All right, let's jump right in. Hey, and welcome to the Creative Marketing Show. I'm your host, Angela S. Doyon. This is the podcast for ambitious women in business looking to cut the BS, stop dancing for likes, and learn to create honest and genuine marketing strategies that don't cause burnout and overwhelm. Have a question about content creation, social media, or maybe you're looking for more clarity on how to take your business to the next level. This is the show that brings the answers to your questions each and every week. So why is your bio important? It's the first introduction to new audiences. So if someone lands on your profile, maybe they were sent something of yours and they want to head over and check you out. Maybe you made the explore page or showed up in someone's feed and they click. The first thing that they're going to see is that tiny little blurb, profile picture, website link. So it really is important to maximize it to make sure that you're building a connection right off the bat. It's also a way to introduce who you are, what you do, and how you can help, or what your offer is, especially when we're using Instagram for your business. And it's a great tool to keep your audience up to date. And I find that that's something that gets missed. It's like a set it or forget it type of thing. We sign up for Instagram, we build our profile, we put all of our information in, and then we leave it. We don't come back to it. But it is a tool that you should be coming back to over and over again. Okay, so a few things to note for your bio. Your username is your actual handle. So that's one of the first things that you would have set up when you made your account. I wouldn't suggest necessarily having to change that. If it makes sense and it represents your business well, leave that as it is. Now, your name, however, which is one of the first lines on your bio, this is something that you can change as need be. As our seasons of business change, as we grow, that's where you might see that you want to change it. The nice thing about it these days is Instagram has optimized the keywords in this name portion for search engine optimization. So it's really important to include keywords in this name portion that are relevant to your business. So for myself, I've included product photography stylist as I keenly aim on doing styling photography for products and marketing strategist. So if anyone's searching those keywords, I might be more likely to rank or show up in a search. And then there's also your category. You can or you don't have to choose a category. If you do, you can also hide it. So whatever one is most relevant to yourself. If you were a photographer, you would have photographer as your category. I'm a little bit more general, so I've just put entrepreneur, which is completely fine if you want to do that as well. So what to include in your bio, what it is that you offer and who it's for. This is going to be really clear so that your audience can understand, okay, is this an account that I want to follow? Is the content they're going to be sharing for me? Because ultimately, it's not about having tens of thousands of followers. You'll want to have the right followers who are going to like, know, trust you, potentially book your services or buy your products. So don't even look at the number count. I want you to focus on sharing who is this for and attracting the right audience. Also, what action would you like them to take? So it's completely fine to include action steps inside the bio. So click the link below or be sure to head over to the website. Some type of direction included in the profile portion is completely fine, as well as any accolades, certifications, valuable or appropriate mention. So if maybe you have another account that you manage that can, interact together, you can put that there. Certainly accolades or certifications to, assert yourself as the expert in your industry would be something I would definitely suggest writing in there. Again, this is something that we should be changing often as we go through the seasons of business and even throughout the year. So when it comes to editing your profile, right on your profile page, you can hit edit profile and make any changes you'd like. As I mentioned, the name portion, you can change it, but you can only change it twice within a 14-day period. So you want to be really clear on what you'd like to have as your name if you are making any updates, as well as including those keywords in the name, because that's going to optimize when people are searching on the platform. So think about those keywords that you would use to describe yourself. Try to put yourself in your audience's shoes and think, what types of keywords would they be searching, and include those in the name portion. As well as selecting your category. You don't have to select a category. I do recommend it. When you head over to the edit profile, you can choose what type of page, category, your contact options. So category, I've set mine as entrepreneur. Let's say you were a photographer, you would use photographer. So you can find one that's relevant. You can also toggle between whether or not you want that category to actually show on your profile. And the same for the contact options. You can have a phone number connected so that people can easily say like call now or email. So I've had mine as an email set up. And then of course, action buttons. These are things that are hooked up with other third-party apps like shopping or delivery with Skip the Dishes, things like that. So what I would recommend, try going through on your edit profile and checking out some of these categories and set it up or give it a refresh of where you're at today. And then lastly, the actual details of your bio. I can't stress it enough to be very clear of who you are, what it is that you offer, so that you're really clear on explaining what your audience can expect from you. And of course, as I mentioned, directing them to a call to action. So usually it's like a link in bio. So as you're creating new things, maybe you have a new promotion going on or you have a sale, this is the opportunity to update those details. So let's say that last line, I'm just going to use my bio as an example currently at what it's at right now. Check the link below to see how I can support you plus your business. And then in my link, I'd have all these options. Now, let's say I was opening up the doors to like a private program. I could change that saying doors closing soon or register now or check for details. So that's what I mean by keeping it up to date and current with where in that moment you really want to direct your audience to go to really highlight that. So of course, we're directing them where to go. We're sending them to our link in bio. So keeping that link up to date is also really important. Where is the ideal place that you'd like them to land? Making sure that that's a top priority. If it's your website, you can put your website directly in the link, or you can use other programs like Linktree or Milkshake, and those offer you the opportunity to host multiple links. So the first one could be the highest priority. Maybe you have a sale going on. Make it easier for them to access that. Or if you're selling tickets, book now. So put them in a priority order, but those third-party apps like Linktree will give you that option to have multiple links, but just always make sure that the links are working and they're relevant and they're up to date. Again, we just want to take our audience on a journey and get them where they need to go. There's nothing worse than sending your audience off the Instagram platform. They've opened it for a reason, and then sending them somewhere where they don't know where to navigate or where to find the content you've mentioned. So let's make sure we're making it super easy for our audience. So the other refresh of your bio, we're going to talk about your profile picture. I don't know when the last time you updated your profile picture. Maybe it's your logo. Maybe it's a great photo of you. So you might not need to, but I do encourage you to have a look and see if it's still relevant, still looks like you, or your logo, if it needs to be updated, or maybe it might be too small. And here are some tips to really maximize your profile picture. So again, it's the first way to introduce ourselves to our audience. And I will say, if you are the face of your business, I suggest that your profile picture should be you so that people don't feel like they're disconnected and they don't know who they're speaking to. Now, that can be different for a brand or a business with a logo. That is completely fine. But ask yourself, if you are the face, if someone, books a call with you or walks into your storefront and it's just you, you might want to consider using a nice profile picture of yourself. Now, a few tips, making sure that the image is really, really clear. So if you are using an image of yourself, make sure that your audience can actually get a feel of who it is that they're speaking to. So looking at the camera, not being too far away, using a high quality image, perhaps maybe not something from your family vacation. I probably wouldn't use that. That's maybe more for a personal account. Again, logos are fine to use. Just make sure that they're visible and that people can read them. Okay, another part of our Instagram bio are the Instagram highlights. These are great tools. Not everybody uses them. I personally no longer use them, but I am going to walk through how you can refresh them or maximize them. So I've included an example here. This is Starbucks. You can see with their highlight reel, they've got fall faves, social impact, zodiac, each month, we're open. And so these are just different categories. And so they're great because if you use Instagram stories a lot, that way, when Instagram stories expire after 24 hours, we're not losing the content. We can add them and filter and categorize them into Instagram highlights. What I would suggest, because we're talking about an Instagram makeover and refresh, is if your highlights appear to be out of date, or if you have too many, now for each highlight, you can add 100, you may want to consider removing some that are no longer relevant. So if you do decide to go down the highlight reel, I would just suggest maybe every 3 months, just go through and ensure that they're still up to date or relevant. Now, as you keep adding and you hit that 100 mark, it's just going to naturally get rid of the oldest ones. So it will naturally filter it out. However, thinking from an audience perspective, if someone were to open up, let's say the fall faves and there's stuff from maybe, I don't know, 96 weeks ago, it feels really disconnecting. It's the same thing when you open up Instagram stories and at the top, you can see all the white dots because it's story, 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 story. That's how it's structured in highlights. So some people might find that really overwhelming to go through all of them. So that just might be an opportunity to clean those up, as well as creating categories that are up to date and that can educate your audience. Those are great ways to use them. And that's why it's important to keep them up to date. So if you get asked a lot of questions in terms of, let's say like frequently asked questions is something you could add as a highlight so that when someone lands on your profile, they can go to the highlight reel. Or if you're noticing a lot of questions in the DMs, you can also direct people to your highlights like, hey, check out the highlight reel. That's going to have all the details. But again, making sure that there's not too much information or old information, because that makes it really difficult for people to filter through. So there you have it. I'm really hoping that today's episode will inspire you to just make those changes, make those updates, make those edits, because we really want to maximize every opportunity. And I know this really focused on Instagram, but this can transcend over to TikTok, to your LinkedIn, to your Pinterest, whatever platform that you're showing up on. Always ensure that that first introduction is the most up-to-date and relevant. And it's going to change. Like I said, every season of your business, every season of the year, you have a new offering. Or if you're pushing specific product that you're high on inventory, highlight that in your bio as much as you can. And ensuring that you have those clear call to actions, we really do want to guide our audience. Where do we want them to end up and make that the priority? I hope you found this helpful, and I hope that we can connect over on Instagram or TikTok. I am at angela.s.doyon, or you can follow the show at Creative Marketing Show. You can also visit me online at angelasdoyon.com, where there is more information on some of my programs, including my private community, the Creative Marketing Membership. And just make sure to follow along, because I love sharing some important tips and tricks when it comes to your marketing strategy. And just know that you can do this and always showing up authentically you. Until next time, have a fantastic day.